Hello and welcome everybody for a new special. My name is Kai Hoffman. I'm the CEO of the Soar Financial Group. As you see, we're not in the studio today. I'm working from the home office, so bear with us if it's not as smooth as usual, but we're doing our very best. We pretty much have the same setup, just a bit different atmosphere. And in a few seconds, I'll be joined by David Kelley. He's a president and CEO of Chakana Copper. We're going to talk about yesterday's drill results. And I personally think he's hidden a couple Easter eggs in the press release that we're going to talk about. At least I'm going to ask him. Let's see what he's going to answer. But also follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, smash the alert and subscribe button there as well. That way you get notified when we go live with another interview. That's it from my end. I'm going to switch over to David. And David, thanks for joining us. Thanks for talking about the press release, of course. How are things?
Thanks, Kai, for having me on again. It's great to talk to you. Things are going really well. Drilling, is going very smoothly on the project, and obviously we're very excited about the results we put out. It's additional confirmation of the high-grade nature of Paloma West, and this is coming on the heels of the discovery at Paloma East, which is just 150 meters away. So the results have been excellent so far.
Exactly. Run us through the numbers real quick. Like, we always forget to talk about actually what the results were and why they were so good and why we're excited, why we're actually doing this news special, because we wouldn't do one for dusters, obviously. So
Yeah, well, the latest results, 12.2 meters of 5.76 grams gold, 2.98% copper, and 252 grams silver. Very, very high grade. There's that came on the heels of the 10 meters of 10% copper and 7 grams in the previous news release. From the same zone, we're in about the upper 100-meter extent of the Paloma West breccia pipe, trying to define the geometry. We've released 9 drill holes so far, and we have 4 additional holes to be released on Paloma West, and then we'll move into reporting on Juan Carama. We're very excited. Paloma West is shaping up to be a very high grade pipe. So far, it's fairly narrow. It's about 35 meters diameter. We've got it defined down to an extent of about 100 meters depth. We do know with deeper drilling on many of the other breccia pipes, the breccia pipes do get bigger at depth, and we'll be looking to see if that's the case with Paloma West. But obviously, what we've seen so far is very encouraging.
fantastic. You said 4 holes left to go from Paloma West.
Yeah.
What do you see in terms of timeline? Christmas is coming up. We're like 20 days away. I think everybody's going to drop their pen on the 12th or so. It feels like so.
Yeah.
What do you think in terms of getting those back?
We should get those out in December. And that's a perfect break point to finish off the Paloma East, Paloma West story. There's an evolving story that's starting to materialize with our understanding of the Paloma area. There's a big structure that connects Paloma East and Paloma West, but we've now been able to extend and see that structure. And it points directly up to breccia pipe 1 and breccia 7, and we have numerous targets along that trend. So that's a really exciting thing. The geology is evolving, but as far as results, finishing off Paloma West in December, and then we're really excited to move into January and start talking about Juan Carama.
Fantastic. And that leads me to it as well. Like 10 holes have been completed on Karama already. Holes are, I'm assuming, are in the lab and being sample prepped and then sent off to the lab. You mentioned, and my question actually, because I looked at the map in your press release, and I'm looking over here because I've got the release open, and I want to quote you properly because it fits in with my thinking. Okay, so that's my thoughts. Like, everybody take that with a grain of salt. I'm not a geoengineer or something, but Paloma West appears to be associated with a much larger breccia system that also includes Paloma East. You sort of mentioned that already, and several other targets in the Paloma area. So if I look at the map, Juan Carama is just barely south of Paloma West and East. And looking at it, do you think they're connected? That's my question now.
Well, not at this point. It's certainly possible. The feature I'm really talking about is this northeast trending structure. We now call it the Paloma structure, and Paloma East and Paloma West sit right on it. And there's that big geophysical anomaly that sits in between the two, and we've already drilled a hole from Paloma East all the way to beneath Paloma West and in breccia the whole way. So we've defined, high-grade breccia in the top 100 meters at Paloma West, and 500 meters below surface, we've got a breccia that extended all the way over from Paloma East. So there's an obvious connection there. But what I'm talking about is this Paloma structure that continues much further to the northeast and much further to the southwest. And we know that because of all of our targeting data sets, and the 92 targets we talked about on the property show numerous, it's almost like pearls on a necklace. They line up on that structure. Now, it's certainly not a far-fetched theory to think that Juan Carama could be close enough to be related to Paloma, and obviously we need to do a lot more exploration to figure that out. But I wouldn't be surprised as we're getting deeper. We're seeing bigger breccia bodies that are coalescing, and that's a feature that we always thought we might see.
Yeah, because one question, like as a follow-up, and unfortunately didn't confirm my theory, I would have asked, like, why not call it Paloma South, right? So, but I could scratch that question. So, yeah. Other than that, I think that we've talked about it. Like maybe with Paloma West and East, like what do you need to actually get to a resource state? Like how many more holes? Like do you need any more infill drilling? Do you want to go deeper?
Yeah, that's a good question, Kai, because the focus of the initial drilling is what we call scout drilling. It's to get out there and answer those three questions. Is it mineralized? Do we see high grade? And do we have some sense of the geometry? And we've checked those boxes for both Paloma East and Paloma West. We'll have a few more holes to substantiate the geometry at Paloma West. And now it's time to start planning the infill drilling, and we want to bring a second rig onto the property to help expedite the results. Once we go to infill drilling program, we've got another 10,000 meters, 9,600 meters left in this funded program, fully funded program that we have, and that's going to be spent doing infill drilling, at Paloma East, Paloma West, in between the two. There's that whole area in between the two that hasn't been explored yet. So there will be some more scout drilling and exploration drilling mixed in with the infill, but the real effort going forward is to drill it out to a sufficient density that we can get an inferred resource. And assuming good results at Juan Carama, we'll be doing the same thing there.
Great. Allow me one last question for this news special. I don't want to go any further, but I asked you quickly off mic as well, like the price tag you're using to calculate the equivalents. I've noticed that you're massively below the current market prices. If you were to calculate the current prices, what would change the dynamics? I know gold probably would kick up a little bit, but copper went up higher, and the silver price is at $24, not $17 anymore. So have you played with that, and why are you using such a low?
Not really. And we chose to just be consistent. We've always used those prices, and I personally don't like it when companies are constantly changing their values, and it makes their equivalent values uncomparable. Essentially, you can't compare copper equivalent in this news release to prior news releases. They are outdated. We have talked about whether or not we should update them, and at some point we probably will. Metal prices have been pretty volatile and changing a lot. So if you start chasing those, for me, I'm a geologist, so I like to see the actual grades, copper, gold, and silver. Tell me the numbers. I'm not really that interested in the equivalent numbers, but I understand that the retail market largely likes to see those, and it helps them understand the significance of the combined impact of the three metals and stuff. But obviously, if you have higher gold prices, it's going to make the copper equivalent look better. If you have higher copper prices, it's going to make the gold equivalent look better. So it's a trade-off, but we've just decided to be consistent. So you can compare our copper equivalent and gold equivalent numbers from today's news release to releases going all the way back to 2018 or 2017 for a relative comparison.
Fantastic. That's exactly what investors actually want, is that consistency, because the flip-flopping doesn't help, and you have a clear line and trend of what you're planning to do. Fantastic. Exactly. David, thanks for joining us Friday afternoon, or almost Friday afternoon here. So thanks for joining us, and maybe we'll get to chat before Christmas again. So I'm looking forward to that.
Let's do it when the last results from Paloma West come out, and then we'll be excitedly waiting for the Juan Carama results to come out in January. Thank you, Kai.
Awesome. Thanks, David. And everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. Happy weekend. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. It's been a long week here at Soar Financial, so we're definitely looking forward to that. And please follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. Always appreciate that. Thank you so much.